Hopefully you fasten your seatbelts for the next 2 hours.
Right.
That's nonsense, Clint. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry.
I don't care what you buy.
That's
just
nonsense.
My feeling.
You're not just buying a racetrack. You're buying a piece of American racing history right there. I mean, that's huge. The history behind the track, just mind-boggling.
You hear a lot of rumors in the rumor mill. I'll just keep tuning in to you guys to hear the truth when it comes down to it. So
don't do that. I've already had one dose of Tin Hat syndrome today. I don't need a second one.
Stuart Friesen said to Brett, he says, "Why don't you bring us to more places like this?" And Brett goes, "There isn't any other place like this."
Race fans, it's time to throw it up on the cushion and get dirty. Coming to you live from the Finger Lakes and Southern Tier, it's time for Turn 5 Live. Now, your hosts of Turn 5 Live, Steve Ovens, Clint Miller, and Brad Ovens.
Oh, fire it up, race fans. Kicking it off broadside off of Turn 4, ready to drop the hammer on this week's edition of Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Steve Ovens, Clint Miller, Brad Ovens, and Jacob Seelman, managing editor for RaceChaserOnline.com, joining you here on the program to kick things off. We got Barry back with us.
I gotta say, by the way, that Open this is the first time you've had me on in the new year. That Open is the best thing I've heard since Joey Logano came along.
You never mind, Jacob.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. We had to come up with something. Everybody that we talked to about doing these things, and of course Barry, Bob, and all the folks at PMN giving us guidance on that stuff. It's like, man, you need something that's going to get you fired up and get you ready to go. And I'll tell you what, that opening gets me up on the chip every Tuesday night, and hopefully it does for the race fans too. And Jacob, glad to have you aboard. Big night tonight. We've got two of the best at their craft in Tim McCreadie, Brett Deyo. We've also got Jim Olin that's going to join us later on in the program. But I'll tell you what, guys, we got to kick things right off with breaking news. And can I get a drum roll there, Clint? Perfect. Breaking news out of Outlaw Speedway just this afternoon here, just a couple of hours before we kicked things off here tonight. Insinger Performance, Sunoco Race Fuels have signed on a 5-year contract with Outlaw Speedway, and they'll also offer a $25,000 Outlaw Challenge. Tyler Seary, owner of Outlaw Speedway and Insinger Performance, announcing that today. They will be the official fuel supplier of Outlaw Speedway through the 2020 race season. And Clint, doesn't that sound good? Talking about Outlaw Speedway in the 2020 race season. Here, months ago, we didn't even know what was going on in 2016.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I mean, I was thinking about that, when you broke the news earlier today about, it was literally less than a month ago, that everything, started the snowball, and now it's getting ready to hit the side of the mountain with the force of who knows. The news is just amazing, and I think that this puts a big old stamp right on the Outlaw Speedway New York State Friday night map.
No doubt about it. The second part of the announcement, of course, being a modified driver bonus. It's going to be called the Outlaw Speedway Challenge. And here's how that's going to work. Outlaw Speedway and Insinger Performance, Sunoco Race Fuel, putting up a $25,000. That's right, folks. 25, a comma, and 3 zeros. $25,000 bonus if a modified driver can win 3 specific modified races on the 2016 schedule. Now, those races are the Outlaw Spring Nationals, taking place Friday, April 22nd. And yes, that is a one-day show now. We'll get to more on that a little bit later on in the program. The Outlaw Fall Nationals taking place on the weekend of September 23rd and September 24th. And race fans, this is going to be the big return of what we used to know as the Bully Hill Nationals at the Speedway. It's going to be a big sprint car weekend there at Outlaw Speedway the 23rd and 24th of September, bringing back a big money show for the 360 sprint cars, There'll be a modified special, and I'm sure specials for other divisions down along the line. But that's the second big one. And then the third of the crown jewels there at Wow. Outlaw
There's your
Speedway.
quarter for the night.
There's my quarter for the night. The third big race, Dutch Hogue National Open, taking place on the weekend of October 21st and 22nd. So if a modified driver can win those 3 races, 25 large going home with that driver. Now, the only stipulation to this, the only way that you can be eligible for the bonus is you have to be a weekly Outlaw Speedway competitor on Friday nights. And as many drivers as we've been talking to lately about running on Friday nights, I don't think the list is going to be all that short of drivers that are going to be eligible. Just today, confirming to local motorsports reporter Steve Kellogg and head flagger at Outlaw Speedway, Billy Van Pelt with the Grant Hilfiger owned number 78 will make appearances every Friday night at Outlaw Speedway, so he will be in contention for that bonus. He just revealing that to Steve Kellogg this past weekend when they were down at the Oakdale Mall Show in Binghamton, New York. Guys, Brad, let me bring you in real quick here. Talk about some major news. A fuel sponsor for 5 years, and this bonus. I mean, this is going to be huge.
Absolutely. I mean, you just talk of the bonus itself. I mean, it's always huge when you can pull in big numbers like that. And I think when you pull in the big numbers like that, you get a lot of big eyes looking at it. And secondly, I know it's kind of a small thing to think of, but, to have a fuel sponsor and have a commitment by the fuel to have fuel there every week. I know last year we had a couple issues of, we didn't have the fuel in the pit area when we needed it, and guys were coming to the racetrack needing fuel, and we didn't have it. So, I mean, that's huge all on its own. But, boy, I can't say enough about Tyler Seary and his whole crew. Is just coming in and, they're not taking we're going to have a 5-year approach. We're going to have a 10-year approach. They're coming in and they're throwing the whole kitchen sink at it right from day one. Now,
I'll bring Jacob in here, managing editor for Race Chaser Online and the voice of the USCS 360 Sprints, and as well as the other series. Jacob, the must-see, and you'll have to help me.
This year it's just must-see racing sprint cars. Steve.
Must-see racing
no extreme.
All right, thank you. Jacob, let me bring you in here. This is a big announcement, and I'm going to go to you on this part about the longevity. Having a 5-year agreement like this with a major corporate sponsor, and this kind of bonus, these are the kind of announcements preseason that really are not just we're going to race this season, we know that. This is really something you can sink your teeth into.
Yeah, big deal right here, Steve. You don't just throw around 5-year agreements overnight. And let me add to this that 25 large to go out and win all 3 of the modified races, that's fighting money right there. As far as the deal itself, though, for Insinger and for Sunoco, this is a huge step in the right direction for both the track and Tyler Seary and the team that he's put in place with Outlaw Speedway for 2016. I mean, this is the foothold for some really, really, really good things, and it proves that there are. When you put the right companies together with the program that Tyler's trying to build over there, you can you can get some really good things out of it, and it proves you can build a platform to build even greater things going forward. I really feel that's what Insinger is trying to do with this deal. I feel like it's why they've taken such the leap of faith, even though I don't feel right calling it that. The put themselves in the position that they're in now, Steve, with Outlaw Speedway to really push this forward and make it successful and profitable in the long run. That's a big key to all this.
It is, for sure. And guys, some other things that have come out today. There's also an updated schedule over on the website outlawspeedwayllc.com for the most up-to-date schedule. And one of those schedule updates is that the Spring Nationals, Friday, April 22nd, that will be a one-day show. The original schedule that came out had it as a 2-day show. But, in trying to be good neighbors with some of the other Saturday tracks that are just getting launched off the ground, Tyler and the rest of the folks doing the schedule and getting all the sponsors and things together said, you know what, guys, let's back this down to a one-day show. The Lucas Oil Empire Super Sprints are going to be there for opening night. There's a $3,000 modified special to kick off their points race for 2016. All of the other divisions will be on tap. The only thing that we'll need to clarify, I know that the Rush Crate Late models have a point show down in Pennsylvania that night, so it may turn out to be a non-point show for the Crate Late models. We'll get some further clarification on that. Of course, Outlaw being a Rush Crate Late model track in 2016. Guys, we've got a stacked show on tap tonight. Tim McCreadie, T-Mac, going to be calling into us from Watertown, celebrating a new baby in the family, celebrating a new chassis manufacturer for the race team, and they had a pretty good run of it down in Georgia and Florida. T-Mac will be joining us in our next segment. And then at 8:30 tonight, Brett Deyo from the Short Track Super Series, as well as Georgetown Speedway, getting ready to kick the gates open for practice this coming Saturday down there in Delaware. Brett will join us from Delaware. They've been doing work on the track all day, so he'll join us to talk to us about Georgetown and the Short Track Super Series, and certainly we'll squeeze in some questions about the Short Track Super Series event that'll be coming locally here to both Woodhall Raceway and to Outlaw Speedway. Jim Olin from Finger Lake Speed World, coming up in a couple weeks, will join us at 8:45 tonight. But guys, let's step aside. On the other side of the break, T-Mac Takeover starts next here on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust, the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
Hi, race fans. This is Kelly Hebing, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stephen and Brad Ovens, Clint Miller, Jacob Seelman, all joining you here on the program tonight. And we've got a very special guest joining us on the hotline this evening, coming to us from Watertown, Tim McCreadie, joining Turn 5 Live. Tim, really appreciate the time tonight.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Tim, I want to start things off first with congratulations on the new member to the family.
Yeah. Last weekend, my wife, Karen, gave birth to our second child, baby girl, Cambria. So it's a fun time in the house. It's sometimes we race so much and we put our heart and souls into that, and it's nice to come home to two kids that light up just for being, your presence being around. It's pretty amazing.
No doubt about it there. And again, congratulations to you guys. That's great news. I'll tell you, not only you've got a new family member joining the fray, Tim, but you guys had some pretty good runs down south to get the season opened up this year. Yeah, I mean, it was very rewarding. Obviously, we want to win. That's first and foremost. We weren't fortunate enough to get any wins, but the fact that we threatened almost every race we ran, we were a threat, and we had speed off the trailer, and just all those things you hope for. I mean, we went through this off season just kind of making some changes and going in some different directions with a lot of little things, including a chassis switch, which is a big deal, and the Longhorn cars that we switched to, was amazing that we were that fast. And I think it's the first time I've ever been to Florida. We ran I think we ran 19 or 18 nights and ran one B main. So that in itself, the fact that we took no provisionals and went down there and raced our way in and came out of the heats, and like I said, a few nights we were threatening for a win. That's all you can ask for to start the season.
And to start your season, Tim, I think it was pretty quiet that this news got out, actually, but found out probably the open of the Winter Nationals that it looks like you're going to be chasing points on the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series for 2016, which is really different for me to think about, having seen you have so much success with the Outlaws Tour the last 5 or 6 years. Talk a little bit about running with the Lucas guys down in Georgia and Florida, and maybe a little bit about what went into kind of the decision of where you were going to run this year, because I got to be honest, when I saw it, I was a little bit surprised.
Well, I think me personally, I've been fortunate enough to drive a lot of different cars and been successful doing it. Not always as much as I'd like to be. Believe me, like I said before, I'd like to win everything I've ever jumped in, and I think that sometimes you can become stagnant. I think as a race team, we made some changes in cars before, and people that work for us, and just little things and all kinds of stuff. But I just think we needed to try to breathe some life into everybody. And if you look at the way both tours are, they're both very, very tough tours, and they both have a lot of professional teams that are good at what they do. I think our focus was kind of, when you look at the broad spectrum of 100-lap races, the quote-unquote crown jewels and the tires that you're on and things of that nature, I think the Lucas kind of lends itself to that type of racing because they run more 100-lap races and they're tied into a lot of the crown jewels. And it was just kind of in with their TV package they have to offer and things of that nature. I just thought, well, I've been doing this outlaw thing for a good long time, and I've always wanted to try the Lucas deal. And honestly, with most of my decisions kind of revolved around Super Dirt Week. With Super Dirt Week kind of going away, I know we're still going to race, but the way it's going to be is not the same as going to the mile. I kind of figured, well, now's as good a time as any to try something different. And they've welcomed us with open arms, and we've been competitive, and we'll try to stick it out. That's the plan.
I was going to say, you had some really good podium runs there during Georgia-Florida Speed Weeks, and it looked like really got that program program off to a solid start for you guys. Did the preparation change at all between, how you would normally prepare for the Outlaws season versus how you had to prepare to go down and kick off the Lucas Oil season, or was it really about the same back at the shop?
Well, I mean, anytime you go to speed weeks down there, no matter, I mean, we run a lot of Lucas races and speed weeks and a lot of outlaw shows because they're kind of split up through a 3-week stretch. And so the preparation to start the year off is really about the same. If you have the ability to test, which we had the last couple of years, we went to Florida and we had the ability to test all 3 tracks that we would race at. And it's crazy because usually that rewards you. Usually a little bit of testing and kind of checking off them boxes of what doesn't work and what might help you out translates to success. But the last couple of years in Florida, we've kind of struggled. So this year we're a little behind just because we decided to change chassis, and that in itself is a different undertaking. And it was very pleasantly surprising for me. Like, so we built the car we ran the first half of Speed Weeks, we built at Longhorn in 3 or 4 days. So it's just a testament to that company, and Rocket was no different. There's a lot of companies I've dealt with, whether it was Warrior or Rocket, they've all been very rewarding in how they work with people, and just sometimes cars fit guys' style, and I think that car fits my style, but preparation for Speed Weeks is usually the same. The success is the thing that never seems to be the same for me sometimes. You want to go down there and be competitive, and I was very, very happy with the way the year started.
Yeah, that you kind of delved into my question for you, Tim. I followed you a long time for being in upstate New York, and you had your best years. I won't say earlier in your career, but probably 10 years ago in the Rocket. You went to a different chassis, went back to the Rocket. Didn't really have the same success as you had before. Now, with all the different manufacturers, I think there's 5 or 6. What made you would go with the Longhorn chassis? Because they are such so new to the game.
Well, I kind of I've done things. Usually when you make decisions, you unfortunately get your heart wrapped up into it, and sometimes your mind goes astray. So it's I tried to do it as business-like and as statistically as I could. I'm really one of them guys that I like numbers and then I like analytics when it comes to racing, and I just basically put a spreadsheet together and put down guys that were winning, and started with chassis and then went on to motors and then went on to the shock program and things of that nature, and and it can change. Things change year to year, and basically what I got out of the stuff I put together on paper was that if we bought a Longhorn car, I didn't think we had to reevaluate our motor program and change our entire shock program and change maybe the tire company we dealt with. It seemed to me that last season, and it's a small sample size, guys were competitive on different engine builders and different shock builders. So that made it kind of like, well, maybe the car's got a big enough window that you can dial it in or dial it out and be competitive, where sometimes you get in a certain corner where you have to go everything all in, and not every race team has the ability to just scrap their engine program and their shock program and spend $200,000-300,000 more on top of the they're $35,000 to $40,000 per car. So it's you do the math that you can run out of money pretty quick. So that's kind of how we did it, and that's kind of how, when I was with Rocket, how we did it back then. You just kind of looked around and thought, well, seems like guys that get in Rocket cars qualify good, they heat race good, and in my opinion, that's what a good chassis builder gives you. And then the features are up to the race team, the driver, the crew, and to make them final adjustments to get you a win.
What differences, Tim, if any, have you found, or what nuances maybe have you felt in racing the car since you went to the new chassis?
Well, I think just the design of it is a little bit cleaner, and it's just it's a little more modern, which you can see Rocket and them guys, they caught up. I mean, it's not like they just stand pat and just kept racing their same cars. They came out with a new design, and I think that Longhorn kind of forced a lot of manufacturers to go that route. Their cars are very clean. When I say modern, they're like kind of what pavement stuff is when it comes to front end adjustments, and they're a little easier to work on when you want to change caster and camber and things of that nature. And it just seems like if you're going to sit down on a piece of paper and try to think out how to stick the back end of the car better and then work around that, that seems to be what they've accomplished. And it is nothing I did. Like, I was late to the party. I'm one of the last guys to come on board, but I appreciate the fact that they've built a pretty good mousetrap right now, and the good thing about it is now is we're not building crazy stuff. We're working off of baselines that are standard and then coming up with our own little program to be competitive, and that's all you ask for. It's hard to start off and be way out to left field and building spindles and building bump stops, stacks, and all kinds of crazy stuff if the car isn't good enough to just go out and put 4 standard shocks and springs on and be competitive, and I believe that's what they've done.
Talking a little dirt modifieds here, if we can, Tim. I know that with Vinny Salerno deciding to take a step back this season, that that probably has trimmed some modified races off of your schedule. Is that the case? I know that you guys still have the Sweeteners car in the stable, but how is that going to affect things modified-wise this year?
I don't really know. I haven't really done a lot of work on trying to figure something out. I was fortunate with Vinny. Vinny came to me out of the blue. It was 4 or 5 years ago, and it was on an April, called up and we put something together really quick, and it lasted longer than most guys last with owners. So it was an amazing ride. So I thank him for everything he's done, and so I've kind of just sat back. I've talked to a guy around up here in the Canada area about doing some stuff. I haven't committed to anything, and I got to touch base back with him again. And other than that, I really haven't broached it, just because, unfortunately, I love modifieds. I really do, and I enjoy racing them, and they put on great races, and they're fun to drive. But my money is made in the late model, and that's kind of I'm not going to sit here and pretend the last 2 years have been great. They've been bad. So we had to focus on what was going to make us better, and that's what we're doing. And then the modified stuff is a bonus. We do have a car if we want to mess around with, but that takes away from our late model program. So I guess, it kind of dance around. The best way to do it would be me to come in with my helmet with a decent team. It doesn't have to be a millionaire team, just a good team with a good car and a good motor, and hopefully we can be competitive. And if that don't work out, we'll worry about that later.
Well, I was just telling these guys in the break before we brought you on that, I think some of my favorite interviews have been with you up at Ransomville. The couple times we've got to see you up there and step into a quality ride up there with the Kerwin team. But I'll tell you what, I appreciate as not a media guy, but as a race fan, the fact that, you don't beat around the bush with that. You have an opportunity to make a career racing the late model, and with the modified program, there's a lot of guys that you just can't do that these days with the modifieds.
Well, it's hard. Honestly, when dirt kind of sold to Boundless back in the day, and things kind of they didn't really unravel, but they got stagnant. And not that Glenn Donnelly and we were going in a direction that was going to make us all rich. It was a good direction. Glenn Donnelly afforded me the ability to leave my job back in the late 90s, early 2000s to be able to even race anything. And then John Finch hired me to be able to springboard me to Sweeteners and to other things and things of that nature. So it is a great division. I've said time and time again, they put on the best race, and when we were at Volusia they raced 4 nights, and 3 out of the 4 nights they ran, they probably put on a better show than any division that was there. And it's cool, but it's unfortunate, because I think when they split the sanctions up the last 5, 6, 7, however many years it's been, it makes it hard. It really does. And it doesn't make it better, in my opinion, for the little guy like everybody thinks it does. It makes it easier for a team, an H&H or a Sweetness Plus, or even a whatever you want to name them. We could go out if we really wanted to, and we could buy the best motor for this division and ROC Racing, and turn around and buy the best big block, and turn around and buy the best 358, then turn around and buy the best spec 358. I don't believe that helps the program. What I thought used to help the program is when I started racing in 1998 or 99 with a big block, I took it to Fonda, to Canandaigua, to Wheatsport, and then to Lebanon Valley, and I didn't have to have 5 different motors. And we need to get back that way and then maybe build it back up. But I sure do love modified racing. It's just tough when it's splintered like it is right now.
Tim, you talked about, Syracuse and we've recently lost the mile and everything. Is there one lasting memory, or is there any, maybe was it the first time that you were that you got to experience the mile? What is it that you remember about the Syracuse mile?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, I've been fortunate that I can't remember the first year I went there because I was so little, but I was in the stands when my dad won because I think I was 12 or somewhere. Maybe it's so long ago, and that's probably one of my favorite memories. I know the effort that a lot of people put in to go to that place, and I know the effort my dad put in to go to that place, and I'm not saying he's better because everybody does it as hard as we possibly can, but there was a lot of nights where people were in the infield or people were doing whatever, where they were at Syracuse Frame every night working on a car and not out doing anything, and just the heartbreak that my dad and all them guys had every year where just things would just go wrong. And I experienced a lot of the same things. So when he won, it was pretty cool. And then when Vinny was able to get us a win there at Syracuse, it's just amazing. I mean, I've won in a lot of cool races and a lot of big-time races, and the thrill of getting out of that car in front of that big grandstands is in my mind still second to none. And I'll cherish. It was a 358 win, but I'll cherish that till the day I go away.
Tim, last question for you here. We've talked about how all the changes you guys have made this season. What is there any defined goals heading into this season with the Lucas Oil Series?
Well, I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to win the championship. Now, sometimes you got to be a little realistic too. I mean, we're starting off with a little bit undermanned. We have to work on some crew as far as getting some people, underneath us to help out, and we're still learning the cars. But I do know this. Back in 2005 was our second year ever running a tour on a late model, and we struck out the first year and didn't win any races, and then the next year came out and led the series in wins and led the series in second place and didn't win the point title, but we were a threat, and that's what I'm trying to get back to. I mean, it's been a long time since I've felt comfortable like this in a race car, and it's nobody's fault. I mean, probably a lot of it's my own, just because I went down south and did things down there and fully expected that I'd be racing Sundays for maybe another 25 years, and when that doesn't work out, people react different, and I probably acted like it was no big deal, but it'll get to you a little bit, and just when you don't succeed. And so it's taken me a little bit, and then I got hurt in the midget car, so it's taken me a bit to get back to where I'm feeling good about everything, and then I'm in a real good place right now, so I'm excited to see where it takes us.
Well, Tim, we wish you a lot of luck this season as you kick off the first year on the Lucas Oil Series, and I think if the runs you guys had in Florida and Georgia had anything to say about it, I think it's going to be a pretty good year for you guys. But good luck, and is there anybody that you'd like to mention that are helping you guys out this year?
Well, yeah, of course, Sweetness Plus and Anna Carl Myers and everybody that puts our whole deal together. It's a tough deal to do, and it's a lot of traveling, and I thank them for giving me the opportunity. I mean, Al and Vic at the shop, Vic's running with his son this year in the modifieds, and he's got a full plate, and it's just a neat deal. I mean, we're teammates, but we act like family, and it's a pretty cool deal. So we're going to try our best, and thank everybody that supports us.
Well, Tim, go get them, and congratulations again on the new member to the family.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Tim McCreadie joining us on the hotline tonight, guys. I think we got to step aside and take a break here. I still got goosebumps. It was great spending some time there with T-Mac. We've got a lot more coming up here on Turn 5 Live right after this here on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Max Dairy Bar is a proud supporter of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Opened in 1974, Max Dairy Bar has been a Penn Yan, Cayuga Lake, and Yates County staple, serving the best Hershey's hard ice cream. They also have soft serve ice cream, their weekly yogurt special, sorbet flavors, gluten-free options, frozen Greek yogurt, and non-dairy lemon ice. Don't forget about their tricky 18-hole putt-putt course that will test your skill to see if you have what it takes to be a champion. Max Dairy Bar and Mini Golf, located on State Route 14A, just south of the village of Penn Yan. right on the way to Black Rock Speedway on Friday nights. Visit them online at www.maxdairybar.com or Max Dairy Bar on Facebook and Twitter. Stop by Max Dairy Bar and tell them Turn 5 Live sent you.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust, the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
Hi, race fans. This is Nick Cooper, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Steve Ovens, Brad Ovens, Clint Miller, Jacob Seelman joining you on the program tonight. Nick Cooper bringing us back from commercial break, and some news coming out this week about Nick Cooper. He's going to be doing some 360 sprint racing in 2016. Just picked up a motor deal here in the last couple of days, and they're going to be doing some 360 shows. And Clint, I want to bring you on and talk a little T-Mac here. We've got Tim McCreadie we just got done talking to. I'll tell you what, they got a lot of reasons to be fired up in 2016. New chassis, new series, and I love his approach to why they made the change and why they think they're going to be successful.
Yeah, listening to T-Mac talk, he's such a consummate professional, and, he answers 10 questions to every one that you give him. And, his reasoning for the chassis, it wasn't big reason. It was, kind of, he did his homework like you would expect him to do. And, and everything's been for the positive, and I don't expect that to change. I just think that, this chassis right now, I think fits him real good, and I think that I expect good things out of T-Mac this year.
And Clint, we always talk, whether it's on the program or in private conversation, but we're always following what T-Mac's up to, whether it was on the World of Outlaw late models or even, if they were venturing out following a Lucas Oil race or something of that sort. And, and Tim made no bones about it. It's been a rough couple of seasons for those guys. And, boy, if Florida and Georgia wasn't a breath of fresh air for those guys, I don't know what would be.
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. When the three of us talked, when he went back to Rocket about how, hey, this is going to be the year for T-Mac. He's going to win X amount of races going back with Rocket. And it just never worked out for whatever reason. I don't know if if he lost some support with, Josh wasn't around. I think that was a time that he was sick and couldn't race. So I don't know, maybe his dad didn't travel as much for some house support. I don't know, but it just seems that that just never worked out for him, which is really a surprise because Rocket Chassis is such a big name in the game, and Josh Richards winning so much this time.
Brad, another big point that Tim made about switching to the Lucas Oil deal is the fact that they have increased TV exposure. And, some people, when you say that, that maybe don't realize how big that really is, kind of shrug that off. But I'll tell you what, the TV exposure, that's huge for your marketing partners and the people that keep all those parts and pieces together to let you go out and run, however many trips a year they go.
Oh, yeah. Marketing partners and sponsors in general, when you start talking about TV time, it's not a matter of, we're going to have 1 or 2 races on TV. It's a matter of we're going to have a qualifying heat. We're going to have, a B main, an A main. They're breaking it down into, how many, they're even going as far as breaking it down into minutes as, how much time are they going to have, a chance to have on TV versus how much money I'm going to give you to follow a tour that gives us that exposure. I mean, that's just, time is money in that case.
And we saw how important that was last year with those races coming to MAV TV from Rolling Wheels. And now it's expanded. Now we're going to see not only Rolling Wheels, but we're going to see Weedsport Speedway with some TV shows as well. I mean, it's big. It's really big.
It is. It's not only, it's kind of getting back to how it used to be in the days of the, in the Glenn Donnelly days, when we used to have 7-8 TV shows a year, a couple from Weedsport, a couple from Canandaigua. I often go on YouTube and look up the old Super Dirt Car Series videos, and I tell you what, it's still interesting, and I love watching those old ones. And boy, let me tell you what, one of my favorite ones was Canandaigua, watching Bob McCreadie charge from the back. That's still one of my personal favorites.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. Guys, we're going to talk a lot more dirt track discussion here. We got Brett Deyo coming up at 8:30 here tonight in not the next segment, but the one after that. And after Brett tonight, we've got Jim Olin coming on board talking about Finger Lakes Speed World. But we got a lot more dirt track discussion to talk about. Brad's going to go over the World of Outlaw Sprint Car results for us from the past weekend. We'll do it next here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a
You
left.
are not going to
then
believe
what you're
this.
going to do is turn
Marcy
onto Marcy
and Brad
Avenue
just broke up,
and go past
and apparently
the first 3
she's
lights,
happy
and
about
then take
it.
the next left.
I don't really
Then
think
drive
she's
5 more
happy,
blocks,
but
and you should be
who am
there.
I to judge, right?
Park
anyway,
on the right.
That's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust, the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
Hi, race fans. This is the voice, Shane Andrews of the Big Block Modified Super Dirt Car Series, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Shane Andrews, always bringing it to us here up on the chip on Turn 5 Live. And gentlemen, we'll get back to some more discussion here. Brad will be coming to us with the World of Outlaw sprint car results here in just a moment as well. Jacob, we'll bring you back in here. We had a re-entry from Nick Cooper, who is going to be doing some 360 sprint car racing in 2016. And I brought his name up tonight because you've done some calls of some races that Nick Cooper's been in recently.
Yeah, surprisingly here of late. I got to be a part of the R-Factor Simulation Chili Bowl back here just over a month ago now, and Nick put in a good showing for a while, did not end up with the finish on championship night that he ultimately wanted because there was a lot of contact during his portion of the alphabet soup. But, I know you guys have been impressed with him up there in the Northeast, and I know he's got his is one of, as Tom Baker would say, those drivers where their stock is rising and rising very, very quickly up in New York.
Definitely, and we talk, let's talk a little iRacing here, Jacob. It's so common now that drivers that we hear on Fridays, Saturdays, and even on Sundays are really involved with this, with the iRacing, and I'll tell you, you get unique events just like the R-Factor Chili Bowl. I mean, we just had the Chili Bowl not too long ago, a month or so ago, and now they've got one big event that's broadcast over the internet. I just think that's the coolest thing.
It's a whole lot of fun. It's something different for me that I don't get to do enough, and definitely a lot of exposure for some of the the dirt world that maybe doesn't always get that exposure at their local track, but can jump on and do something like this and be extremely competitive against some of the best in the business. Chris Bell, Kyle Larson, Chase Briscoe, who won on finale night there back in January. It's just a tremendous amount of fun. It's really something different, kind of a kickback, laid-back atmosphere, and all these guys have a load of fun. It's as much for bragging rights as anything, Steve, but definitely enjoyable, and was glad to see Nick Cooper as one of the names in that field. Hope we see him again in the headlines here in the New York scene coming up later this season. I know a lot going on up there here starting in the next couple of weeks, and really getting this 2016 dirt season kicked off right.
You said it, Jacob, for sure. Let's go off to Page, Texas. World of Outlaw Craftsman Sprint Cars for their first of a two-day show as they start to head out west. And boy, I'll tell you what, guys, Brad Sweet is just putting on a clinic to start the season here. He picked up the big win out there. He got the win over. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong. There we go. Brad Sweet. $10,000 win over Darren Pittman, his teammate David Gravel. Another good run in that 5 car. Come home third. Joey Saldana was fourth. Donnie Schatz fifth. 6 or 10, Shane Stewart. Logan Schuhart, who had a great run there, for seventh. Jason Johnson was eighth. The dude, Danny Lasowski, was ninth. And Aaron Reitzel, a name that we've heard a time or two in that 87 car, came home with a top 10 finish. Jacob, Brad Sweet, I don't think I need to say anything more.
I'll say what needs to be said here. 2016 is the year of the big cat. I'm saying it right now. I have never seen anybody get off to a momentum roll like Brad Sweet has gotten and not had a big say by the end of the year who is the champion on the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, the World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series. I'm still getting used to that part of it, but Brad Sweet, gosh, there's not enough you can say about him and what that whole Casey Kane Racing stable has done in 2016. I mean, we were pointing it out here on PMN on Monday night, Steve. Casey Kane Racing has won 80% of the World of Outlaws Sprint Car features through 5 races this season. Brad Sweet has won 60% of the World of Outlaws Sprint Car features through 5 races in 2016. He leads the points by I don't want to say comfortable margin, but as comfortable a margin as one can lead the Outlaws standings through 5 races, and I see no signs of this team slowing down. They have been all but flawless so far this season, and I like that 49 to do what Darren Pittman did in 2013, the way he beat Donnie Schatz for the title, Steve. He didn't just do it by winning a lot of races, though he did win his fair share of races. Qualifying was key, and I think for Brad Sweet to win this championship in 2016, which I think he can do, he's certainly capable of it, he's going to have to out-qualify these guys in order to do it. I think he can do it. He's already proven it here in 2016.
I'm just about ready to go to Clint, but I want that pot to stew just a few minutes longer here and get it to a nice boil before we turn him loose. So, Brad, I'll turn to you. Do you see Brad Sweet carrying this out long-term over the whole season to contend for the championship?
I do see them carrying it out long term. Whether or not he's going to keep his 60% winning streak going, I think it's going to be a lot harder the farther they get into the tour. The more races they run, I think it's going to be not a struggle, but it's going to get a lot tougher for them. There's going to be a lot more competition. I think once they start to hit some of the PA posse, they might see even a little more competition. But I think once a few more teams get a roll and get a grip on everything, I think they're going to be dominant, but I don't know if they're going to continue to be this dominant all season.
I'm going to go ahead and grab a hard hat here, and I'll say this about Brad Sweet. I don't think this streak is done yet. I think he's going to do very well on the West Coast swing. Once we start coming back to the Midwest and back to the Eastern border, that's where I think things will start to get interesting for them. Clint Miller, go ahead. Everybody hit the deck.
Oh, man. I was listening the other night. I believe it was Saturday night. They had 35 cars on the program. And I did not know this, and it really, really upsets me. And, Jacob, maybe you can weigh in on this when I'm done here. But when there's a field of 35 cars or more, there is no points difference for the World of Outlaws. It's show-up points only. And I think that is the biggest crock of baloney that the World of Outlaws have come up with. They've been such a solid group. I like most of the changes that they've made, but this one takes the cake. I mean, so if you go to a race, just for instance, and it'll probably never happen, but I'm going to put it out there. You go to a race where there's 40 cars. Donnie Schatz is second in points, 15 points out of first. Wreck's bad in the dash. Why even put a car on the track for the A main other than, I understand drivers race for trophies, they're racing for money, but why put it on the track if he's getting the same amount of points as Brad Sweet, who's leading it? Why risk tearing another car up? And how is that fair to Brad Sweet, the guy that's leading in points, when you've got the hottest driver in the World of Outlaws the last 3 years on your tail, that he goes out and wins the A main, but he can't stretch a points lead? Tell me how that makes any sense at all.
You got me here, honestly, Clint. And to be fair, I just found out about this rule change myself earlier today, and I'm in your corner.
It's crap.
Number one, why? Number two, are you kidding me? Number three, really?
I don't understand.
Let me go ahead and say this, guys. Let me jump in here. Let me put my PR guy helmet on here. Let me just tell you this right now. Whether it's Outlaw Speedway, Woodhull Raceway, if we get 35 cars in a division, we ain't going with show-up points. Let me just throw that out there.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
We get 35 cars. We're giving out points, baby.
I don't understand. There's so many things that the World of Outlaws have done good, that with they changed their time trial format so that I won't say it's any more exciting because nobody likes to see one car on the track, but it's faster. The inversion, is always good for the fans. This is just, I don't get it. And then I believe it was Saturday night, they had problems with the scoring, so that I think X amount of cars took qualifying. They have trouble with the scoring, so then it falls back to draw, which that may do that anyways, anywhere. But a guy like Logan Schuchart, who drew terrible, has the third fastest time when they cancel, and now it's disallowed, so now he's got to fight, from 7th in the heat race to try to get up into the A main, which he did, but it just puts teams behind the 8 ball, and with the World of Outlaws, you can't be put behind the 8 ball because it's just too tough.
Well, the other unfortunate part to the timing and scoring issue the other night is, the local nursing facility had to cancel bingo because they needed bingo balls to do the draw. Because when's the last time you heard the World of Outlaws do a pill draw for lineup?
Well, I don't think they did the pill draw for lineup. I think they did the pill draw from where they signed in.
Sure.
Whatever you drew your order for qualifying is where you went out for your heat. So is that how they did it? I don't know for sure.
One of you were talking about changes, Clint. One of the changes that I like that they did, and this is to go back to something Jacob brought up a little earlier, is they also changed the qualifying so that a driver couldn't win quick time a third of the season and win the championship. Not solely based on that, but the championship that Pittman won, if you remember back, was due in part to a lot of points being earned from QuickTime awards.
I want to say about 26 of them to be exact.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Well, I don't like that rule either. So now you're
Clint, I'm with you. Just go ahead and put both of us down in the red challenge flag category. I'm calling some crap on this one.
Somebody better call my dog over here to get me off the table, because let me tell you something. Randy Savage is going to drop an elbow in just a minute.
Oh boy.
I am fired up.
Clint went from Big Papi to Macho Man in 3 seconds flat.
Steve, we need a commercial.
Yeah, we really do. We really have gotten off the rails here. We're going to step aside. We got Brett Deyo in the wings going to talk to us about Short Track Super Series, Georgetown Speedway. We'll get to some more World of Outlaws Sprint Craftsman Sprint Car results, and we got Jim Olin coming up at 8:45 as well. Stay tuned, race fans, to Turn 5 live here in the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the Track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, Recording Artists Against Drunk Driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more, but the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives and so should you.
Motorsports Sales Professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444, or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Brett Deyo, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Oh, timing. Timing is a wonderful thing.
Timing is everything, Steve.
Timing is everything. Brett Deyo brings us back from commercial break and leads into, well, Brett Deyo on the hotline, joining us from down in Delaware. Brett, how are things going at Georgetown?
We've had a pretty busy last couple of weeks at the track, and today was a really productive day. We were able to get a lot more painting done, and just about all of it's done now, and got a lot of track prep done because there's a couple of days of rain here the next couple of days before we get into our practice on Saturday, the 5th. So we're able to get the track packed, and we're in really, really good shape for our first on-track activity of the year.
How big of an undertaking has it been getting Georgetown into shape the way you'd like to see them?
It's been major. I mean, we signed the lease right around Eastern States weekend, late October last year, and spent a good portion of November until the weather went sour, getting cleaned up, basically getting dumpsters in there, cleaning stuff out, tearing down some old structures, and then once the weather broke for the spring, we started on the next phase of it, which was repainting, rebuilding, and getting the racetrack where we wanted it. And fortunately, because the weather held out so long, we were able to get some clay down beginning of December, and that's been worked in. It looks really pretty good. I just threw up a picture on our Facebook, and I think it should hold together really well for practice and for our big opener next weekend.
It seems like so far you guys have been pretty well received in the local area and what the racetrack can do for the local economy. I know that recently you even had a chance to be on a local station that Bob Steele from PMN here is a host on as well. What has that experience been like?
Yeah, the local community has been really supportive of the racetrack, and that's been media. We had the local television station there today, actually, and radio, and the local businesses as far as billboard sales. One of the projects that got done at the track today was building a structure for billboards for the infield, and that's, we have a pile of them to put up, and Delaware and their fans really love auto racing, and that's been seen over the years from, you go back to the Harrington Fair when there were races there to, when the World of Outlaw late models come to Delaware International, or more recently when we've had our events locally, whether it's at Georgetown or over at Charlie Cattell's facility. And I think with the limited schedule and the diversity that we have, and the fact that we're, hammered down 14 hours a day trying to bring back a track that's basically was on life support to be a player again, I think the community has really rallied around that.
Brett, going into 2016, I'm curious with you kind of taking over and breathing new life into Delaware, with already having that be a part of the Short Track Super Series in the past, and just adding this now to the list of things that you are a part of up in the Northeast region of the country. How does that enhance everything else you're doing with the series and some of the other pies that you've got moving parts and pieces in? How does adding Delaware kind of work together with everything else you've got going?
Where it's a business and it's a seasonal business. And for me, as a business owner, I'd love to be able to operate 12 months out of the year. Obviously you can't. We're getting closer, but we can't do that. And having Georgetown allows me to do what I'm doing. We're going to have cars on the racetrack March 5th, and it'll be exactly 3 months our off season from when we had our last checker flag at Accord for the Gobbler. So it allows me to race earlier and later. It allows me to move into the late model market, which I've never done before with super late models. And, we now have an alliance with Virginia Motor Speedway and Potomac and Winchester on the late model side. It's just a whole another way to expand our brand. And it's a great track to start and end the South region of the Short Track Super Series, because it really is a neutral track. We're not racing weekly. We're not, we don't have home track advantage really for drivers. So, talk about a great place to start the series and end it on the South region. And, there's room to have big races. The Melvin Joseph race next week is going to be a huge race, and we've got 71 acres to work with. And, there's just a number of positives to having us at Georgetown. And, I honestly really love it. I mean, I've probably worked harder the last month than I have ever. It's nonstop and 3-4 hours of sleep, and painting out when it's 30 degrees and 60 degrees and you're sunburned, and trying to get old equipment running, but it's been a great challenge for me.
And this is fun. You basically segued right where I wanted to go with talking about the Short Track Super Series. Going into year 3 with that bunch here in 2016, and having built up the North region and the South region now kind of into two entities that are their own cohesive brand and yet work so well together, and put on the competition you guys have too the last couple of years. How big is this thing really going to grow compared to where it's already been in 2016? I mean, you've got to be more than ecstatic with where this is right now compared to where it was when you were just getting this thing off the ground a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing, as we're only a few days. I think today is March 1st. We're 11 days away from our opener, and we are looking at 2016 with a $67,000 point fund, for our series. And we're going to new places. We're going to Rolling Wheels. We're going to Outlaw Speedway with Tyler Seary. We went to Woodhall last year in the North region and broke new ground there, and that was an awesome show. And then we have our traditional events. Everybody looks forward to going to Orange County, and it's the only time all year you see the sail panels on the big 5/8 and the open tire, and a lot of the cool things that go along with that, and all the stuff that Halmar's doing has made Orange County even more exciting for our North region. And then the South region this year, obviously we put a little more emphasis on Georgetown. We picked up Susquehanna. That'll be the first modified race there in a long time, the first big block race since 2006, with the new management there. And I see more and more drivers taking a serious look at our program, not only for the contingency awards, but the fact that our purse structure is so strong, and there is no other series where you can finish 10th and get $1,000 in dirt modified racing. I mean, we're the leader there, and the point fund has climbed to such huge numbers. And thanks to a lot of our product people being happy, we continue to get more contingency awards. So, to be honest with you, it's grown quicker than I ever would have thought in 3 years.
Brett, you've got, of course, the Hard Clay Open coming up April 2nd to kick off the North region, and there's always a lot of excitement around that. I mean, we got to go and take that in a couple of seasons ago when the Short Track Super Series kicked off, and that is going to be a great event. That is going to be a must-see for the fans in the Northeast, and one of the first events kind of in our area to get things kicked off for the season. Now, you mentioned a couple of other events. Of course, you guys coming back to Woodhull for the second time. I know there's a lot of listeners from the Woodhull and from Outlaw and Thunder Mountain and all the places that are right close here in our neck of the woods. It's an exciting time for the Short Track Super Series, getting to, coming into Dundee for the first time and coming back to Woodhull for the second time. There's been a lot of excitement in our area.
Yeah, Woodhull was a great show, and Ted White was a class act, and he's a character, and that's what makes him a good promoter, is that he is a character and he cares, and our drivers loved it. They loved it. They knew it was going to be a challenge, and it was for a lot of them in the heat races, but they came around for the feature, and Tyler Series doing some pretty awesome things over there at Outlaw, and I think it's our event will be big there. And Thunder Mountain you spoke of, I'm pretty excited about our Lightning on the Mountain this year. We're running ESS sprint cars on Saturday night, 3,000 to win, 300 to start, Memorial Day weekend, and then we come back the next day with the Short Track Super Series Lightning on the Mountain, and that's just going to be an awesome weekend. Talk about camping and hanging out and the ultimate race fan experience. Sprint cars and then 5,000 to win modifieds, on Sunday. That's a weekend that I'm really looking forward to. And, we're back at I-88 with our 88 to win, the Crazy 8 special and the Short Track Super Nationals. We've got Accord on July 5th, which is great for that area because there's a lot of camping, and the summertime atmosphere is going to be good. Just the way the schedule came out this year, I'm really, really happy. And, I just think there's so much, good feeling from our racers since our banquet in December. It's probably, the most momentum we've ever entered a season with.
With all of that momentum, what are some of the things that, as a promoter, you still have to keep your eye on? I mean, I imagine that, not being a promoter myself, I mean, that game has got to be constantly evolving. I mean, your series, in my opinion, is kind of, one of the series that's leading the way with bringing racing and bringing, how we take care of the racers to the next level. But does that still continue to evolve for you as a promoter?
Yeah, our series has changed. I mean, we started out with 6 events, and now here we are with, we're running about 16 times between the North and the South. And, like you said earlier, I'm almost dealing with 2 different series under one umbrella because, we have our Southern program and we have our Northern program. And, one of the things that I'm trying hard to do is package these and sell to a regional sponsor, because we really are covering some ground. I mean, we're running all the way from the Rolling Wheels, Black Rock, Woodhull area to, you go to Delaware International for our Diamond State 50, and if you turn right out of the Speedway, you hit Maryland. And I think we're getting to the point now where we're large enough that, I need to change my look at looking for sponsors and continue to try and build more of a sponsor base that's more regional and, continue to make that point fund number larger and larger. Last year we paid out about $59,000. This year we're paying out $67,000. And that's one of the things I think that makes our series unique, is what you're racing for. I mean, you click on my website today and what second in points for the South region is. So when you go to the banquet in December, there's no guessing. Our payouts are posted. There's no guessing. And I think that's one of the things that's really set us apart, because, it's pretty hard to find information on a lot of these events that go on. And I went to school for communications, and I try really hard to keep the news out, whether it's, doing stuff like this or Facebook or, our website or, the traditional area auto type advertising. People need to know before they go, and that's something that, I try hard to work on.
With what Tyler has done over at Outlaw, I mean, he came out at their informational meeting with the purses for each division. Do you think that's a change that we need to see in our sport?
Yeah, and that's something I do continue to do for Thunder Mountain. It's if you go on Thunder Mountain's website today, you can click on there and you can find the 2016 payout structures. And I'm a believer that the only people that don't post their payouts are the ones that are hiding something. It's not it shouldn't be a secret. I mean, you post how much it is to get in, you post how many laps it is. I mean, I don't think there's any reason to hide what 10th place pays. So I think what he did there was great, and actually I've had the opportunity to spend quite a bit of time on the phone with Tyler, and I think he's a rookie promoter, but I think he has a lot of great ideas because he's traveled so much as a racer in his last few years. And hey, I think it's we owe it to our competitors to tell them what they're going to get paid.
And all of that, I'm personally looking forward to seeing the North region there on June 7th. I think that's going to be a home run show, and we're looking forward to seeing you out there, Brett. Hey man, good luck with the rest of the preparations at Georgetown. You got practice this weekend, and then the South Series starts on March 12th. We're going to be following right along.
Yep, it's a busy couple of weeks. We start at 3 o'clock this Saturday, and then March 11th, Friday night, we'll be running, another open practice, and March 12th is our South Region opener, and this is a South Region opener that has a lot of northern influence. Matt Shepard in the 357, Stuart Friesen coming down, Craig Hansen out of the Fonda area, Brian Malcolm, who won our Thunder Mountain Series race last year. You're going to see quite a bit of northern influence because it is the first race of the season in the Northeast, and I think it'll be a great show. And we're planning to do our best not to send too many people away empty-handed. And I have a plan in place to start at least 30 cars in the feature, so we're gearing up for it.
Appreciate the time tonight, Brett.
Thank you very much.
All right, Brett Deyo joining us on the hotline. Getting ready to kick things off with the Short Track Super Series, and as well as a new era for Georgetown Speedway. Appreciate his time tonight. We're going to get Jim Olin on the horn, talk Finger Lakes Speed World, and a little Paradise Speedway. Paradise Speedway making some big news over the past week. We'll talk to Jim about that next here on Turn 5 Live on PMN, the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. Now they're also an official motorsports content partner of Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for all their raw materials, such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much, much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is your number one source for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the road to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, or call either company toll-free at 1-888-752-7272.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust, the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Mills Family Racing, and you're listening to Turn 5 live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. The Mills family bringing us back from commercial break. And again, good timing here tonight as Jim, I'm sure you working at Paradise Speedway got quite familiar with the Mills family over the years.
Oh, absolutely. Been dealing with them since actually my first day out there. Dave Mills and Amber and the rest of the crew out there bringing the Outlaw snowmobile-powered sprint cars out to the track for the first time.
Oh,
So
very good, very good. Of
Yeah.
course, Jim Olin joining us from Finger Lakes Speed World as well as the Paradise Speedway. And Jim, let's start with Finger Lakes Speed World as that's coming up here quickly out at the Finger Lakes Mall. And he was kind enough to share the schedule with us here. Of course, setup is Friday, March 18th. From 7 to 10. And then they kick things off on Saturday, March 19th with a little setup in the morning. And then we've got all sorts of events here. We've got the exhibitor meeting at the Syracuse exhibit, a homemade Hall of Fame, Stars of Tomorrow autograph session. Jim, talk to us about some of these events here, one of which I see that really is going to be kind of cool. A tribute presentation on the Syracuse Mile and a final toast to the Moody Mile. You guys have got a lot of great things happening.
Yeah, we're getting away from the show and shine mall shows. I was down in Oakdale last weekend and got to see some really nice race cars, talk to the drivers and the tracks and things like that. But it's kind of a one pass through the mall, you've seen everything and you're out of there type deal. We've gone more to the interactive family type of show, and our headlining exhibit this year is the Tribute to the Mile. Tragically losing the grandstands in the State Fair, the last 1 mile dirt track left around here, it's gone. And there's been a lot of tributes to the mile on different entities, and they did a presentation down at the Institute for Motor Racing Research down at Watkins Glen. And Kip Zeitner's group down there put that show on with Dr. Gary George. Dr. George is coming up to the mall. He's going to do his presentation at 5 p.m. on March 19th. So you'll be able to get some really good history about the past races at the Syracuse Mile and a little bit of a sidebar to prior Super Dirt Week races all the way back to 1972 with the first Schaefer 100 race. And at 7:30, the final toast of the Moody Mile. This will be the breaking news. I don't know how much of a breaking news this is, but the final toast of the Moody Mile will be made with 100 cans of Schaefer beer to commemorate the Schaefer 100, the first Super Dirt Week race held in 1972.
Oh, wow.
And
wow.
Yeah, that'll happen at 7:30 that night. So I think that's going to be a very informative and also very emotional time for a lot of people sharing their memories of the Syracuse Mile.
It almost doesn't seem real that, the Moody Mile, the grandstands are gone. I talk to a lot of people that live up that way that, drive by the fairgrounds, whether they're on their way to work, school, or whatnot. And I personally haven't been up there since the grandstands came down, but it's I mean, it's still a loss that the race community is still kind of reeling from.
Yeah, I live right here in Lakeland, and I have to drive by there all the time. And there's just a big hole in our world now. You look over there and you can see right clear across the Crucible Steel, and it's very, very sad. I've been to every Super Dirt Week since 1980, and I was just barely 3 years old at Super Dirt Week 1980. So it's a personal tragedy. Not just, it's a tragedy throughout the racing community, but that's really close to home.
No doubt about it. Going back here to Finger Lakes Speed World, Sunday, March 20th. You guys have got some RC events happening. Got an RC demolition derby and over in Joanne Fabrics in the mall there. And then this looks like the show closes up at 6 o'clock. So you guys have got a great show put together here for the Finger Lakes Speed World. I know that that this will be your first year at the helm, taking over for Paul Small. He's left some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, Paul had a lot of irons in the fire last year and moving on into this year. He was really, really busy when it came down to putting the show together this year. And when I contacted him about setting up the display for Paradise Speedway this year, he expressed some concern that he might not be able to handle the show this year. So I told him that I would be willing to take it over if he wanted to go that route. And he took me up on the offer. So I'm glad that he did, because it's an important show to that area in the racing community, being in the Finger Lakes region, with Outlaw Speedway starting out this year, Paradise Speedway being in that area, also Rolling Wheels, Weedsport, the Hall of Fame. It's a good location for them to showcase what they do in a more public sense. So it's once again, it's a very important show. It's not just another mall show. It's relative to the racing community.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little Paradise Speedway. You guys have got an exciting year coming up. Talk to us a little bit about what we can expect to see out at the Dice this year.
Okay, well, we've gone a little bit different direction with some things. One of the things that we have done this year is we have integrated in a nostalgia night. It's going to happen on July 16th, and that is going to bring together some of the members of the former Mid-State Antique Stock Car Club to come out and race on the quarter mile. Now, they raced there last year as the Mid-State Club, but we didn't get a lot of cars because the same day that we had scheduled was the weekend of the Syracuse Nationals. So we lost a lot of cars to that. Now, the Northeastern Vintage Dirt Modified Club that's out in Middletown, New York, will be coming out, and they've invited all the dirt cars from Mid-State. I didn't know if you'd known this or not, but Mid-State had more or less dissolved. So there is no more Vintage Club out here, but they're trying to put it back together in two separate areas. So that'll be July 16th. Then we have a grit race scheduled, which will be the first time that these Sportsman Modifieds have hit Paradise Speedway on a regular race night in nearly 21 years. And so that was...
We're just a little excited about that.
Yeah, that's a big score for Paradise. And, there's been some concerns about the track size. Everybody says the track's not big enough to run Sportsman Modifieds on it. Well, let me give you a little bit of racing history. Up until 1995, they ran Empire Super Sprints on the Paradise Speedway, and they had no problem going 2 and 3 wide out there. So this is not Paradise is no stranger to the big cars and the big tires. And we have our open practices on Wednesday nights out there during the racing season, and a lot of the sportsman guys come out and practice on the track because it's $15 to go out and run your car. And usually get 3 or 4 10-lap practice sessions, and you can't buy that kind of time on the track anywhere else. So that's a good deal for them to come out. They know the track, so they know that they've got room out there to run.
Yeah, and we shared a video here just the other day from the Guerri boys that were out testing, and I think the video might have even have been a couple years old, but still, I mean, that was in-car footage, showing that, and the funny part about that video was, the bottom side of the track was still a little bit wet, so they had, a portion of the corners coned off so that they didn't tear up on the bottom, and they still had plenty of room to run. So I can't, you know, I can't go along with anybody that thinks the place isn't big enough. And I'll tell you what, you want to talk about a throwback race, that's what that grit race is going to be at Paradise. And I'll tell you another thing, that, gentleman, is going to be a wild card on the grit schedule, especially if you're running the Hoosier Series, because I don't think there's a lot of people that have got a big notebook on Paradise Speedway because it's been so long. And these cars changed. The track, I'm sure, has gone through changes in the surface over time. So it's going to be a wild card. But, Jim, you brought up the fact that, the Wednesday practice session, and those are pretty wildly popular. And if we can hold on to you here as we step aside for a quick break, I'd love to talk to you more about that.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll have more with Jim from Paradise Speedway and the Finger Lakes Speed World next on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What?
No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm gonna do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
If you're a gearhead and you just can't get enough of your favorite motorsports on that channel on the cable, or you look at that Guy network and you just go, what does that have to do with me? We have the answer. Performance Motorsports Network. Right here on the internet. The best cruising tunes, the best in motorsports programming, and the best shows. We have opinionated hosts, and we like it that way. If you want to get involved, if you want to bench race, be listening for information coming up soon right here on this channel, the Performance Motorsports Network, your source for motorsports.
Hi, race fans. This is Mel Thomas from Thomas Video, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Mel Thomas bringing us back from commercial break, and Mel, a guy that has spent some time out at Paradise Speedway. We're talking with Jim Olin from Paradise Speedway and Finger Lakes Speed World. And Jim, so we were talking right before the break there, your Wednesday night practice sessions, it amazes me how popular, a track can be just on a practice night. But you talked about it. For $15, you can bring your car out. Doesn't matter what it is. You can bring your car out and get some laps, and or your go-kart, motorcycle, quad, you name it. And you guys get a lot of folks out there for practice night.
Yeah, I took I had a vintage Outlaw mini sprint, one of the old 1200 minis, and I used to take it out there, and Nick Legret, old Kubota Nick, would give me a push off, and I'd go out and turn 10, 12 laps till I broke it, and then I'd bring it in and spend 20 minutes wrenching on it, and next thing you know, I was up again and go out and run, and it's nice having a track that you can go and do that at. And sometimes when tracks have practices midweek, they don't really prep the track much. But Gary is constantly prepping that track. He works on it every single day. And that's why Paradise provides one of the best racing surfaces in short track racing anywhere. So to be able to go out there on a Wednesday, get there at 6 o'clock, get yourself in 3, 4, 10-lap practice sessions, I mean, that's better than gold sometimes. And I can guarantee you're going to see some of those grit sportsman guys out there tearing it up on Wednesday nights. And $15 to get into practice is peanuts when the experience that it's going to give you on that track.
And the beauty of it for the spectators too is, for spectators, it's a free event to come and check out. And when you can come out and see some of those cars and the diverse field that will come out for a practice session, that's a pretty cool Wednesday night out at the track for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can come out and sit in the stands. The concession stands are open, so you can grab yourself a hot dog or a hamburger or something. And I've gone out there on Wednesday practice nights to take care of business at the track. As the Speedway announcer, I really don't have a lot to do on Wednesday nights, but this year, being more in promotions and media relations and things like that, I'll probably be out there doing a little snooping with the guys that are coming out there to practice just to cover some of that. But as far as spectator crowd, we don't get a lot of people coming out to watch. Most of the people just in the stands of, families of the people that are out there running. You get a lot of motorcycles on Wednesday nights. A lot of the guys that run series on the bikes will come out there and use Paradise to dial them in or just, work on their skills a little bit. And then we used to race motorcycles there, but we got down to 1 or 2 in a class, and they finally dropped them because it just wasn't worth us taking the time out of the schedule to run 1 or 2 bikes for a heat and a feature. So,
gotcha. What anything else that we can mention for you guys? Website, Facebook. I know you guys have both.
Well, if you can check out Paradise Speedway on the interweb at www.paradisespeedway.net, and we are on Facebook at Paradise-Speedway at Facebook. I personally update the Facebook page, so anything that's going on there, and our website guy, he's real good about getting things up on there, so our website is pretty much up to date. And actually anything that's lagging is probably my fault, so you can go ahead and blame me for that. Also for Paradise Speedway, we will be displaying at Motorsports Expo coming up in a couple of weeks. And, next weekend, Sunday, is the Paradise Speedway Banquet. So that's our awards banquet. Got pushed off into the 2016 season here. So I guess our season starts off with a banquet instead of ending with one. And so that's this Sunday at the Oaks Corners Fire Department. And then next weekend, we'll be at Motorsports Expo at the Syracuse Fairgrounds. And the weekend after that, we are at Finger Lakes Speed World.
So it's a busy time to be a part of Paradise Speedway. Jim, we appreciate your time tonight and look forward to talking to you more about the old dirt track over on Hayes Road.
All right.
All right, that is Jim Olin from Paradise Speedway and Finger Lakes Speed World coming up March 19th and 20th out at the Finger Lakes Mall in Auburn, New York. Be sure to check those guys out, paradisespeedway.net, as well as Paradise Speedway on Facebook. So check those guys out. Clint and Brad, let's get back to some World of Outlaw results here. We talked about Brad Sweet taking night 1 out there in Texas at Cotton Bowl Speedway. That was the first event that they had ever had at the Cotton Bowl Speedway. Now we'll take you to Baytown, Texas, where Darren Pittman pulled off the win at Royal Purple Raceway, completes the Casey Kane Racing sweep of the Texas doubleheader. And, of course, Pittman got the win over Donnie Schatz, who came home second. Shane Stewart came home third. Brad Sweet, solid run there for fourth. Jason Johnson, the top 5. 6 through 10 was David Gravel. Brian Clausen, running about 2,500 races this season, is Brian Clausen. Craig Kinzer in the 11K came home 8th. Sheldon Haudenschild was 9th, and Joey Saldana rounded out the top 10 in that 83 car that he is running this year. Clint, I'll tell you what, Casey Kane Racing swept them out in Texas. They're getting ready to go to Las Vegas this weekend. Do you think they're going to continue rolling on here?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me any, Steve. But let's go back. We talked about Brad Sweet he's got 3 wins already to start this year. But now Darren Pittman has lost to Brad Sweet twice coming out of 4 on the last lap. So it could very well, roles could be reversed here. I mean, within that bumper width. So, Darren Pittman's been fast all year. So I think it just goes to show you, that Casey Kane Racing is, they're the real deal and they don't suck.
They definitely don't suck. We're getting ready to head to Las Vegas, where last year it was Shane Stewart and Terry McCarl who picked up victories. And, I think for Shane Stewart, this is a welcome trip back to Sin City.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes it's just, they haven't really hit their stride, the first 5 races this year. But I think that coming to a place where they had success, you always know going back in, hey, I ran good here, I won here. That's that little bit of confidence that maybe they need to start the Shane Stewart train running.
Absolutely. Then they'll head down to Arizona after Las Vegas. We talked a little bit about David Gravel having some good runs in the 5 car, and I think Joey Saldana has shown some speed in the 83. Has there been any other stories that have kind of stuck out so far? I mean, we always like to follow up on the Shark Racing boys, Clint, but anything else that's stuck out so far?
Not really. It seems to be status quo right now. David Gravel, obviously, picking up a couple top 5s. That was one of the things that we talked about, who would benefit from the off-season changes. I think one of the things that kind of comes to mind may not be a big story yet, but Paul McMahon and the 17, the Destiny Motorsports team, they haven't really hit any sort of stride this first couple, races out, and they finished 13th at Royal Purple. And I think I'm not really sure how many top 10s that they have this year, but it's not probably not where they assumed that they would be at. I know they've actually junked 1 car already this year due to an accident, but yeah, 12th in Texas, 13th at the last one. So yeah, I don't think their season started as well as they've liked.
Yeah, I don't think so either. That's probably a pretty safe bet there. But I'll tell you, we've got a lot of stories that have come out. We were talking a little earlier about the fact that there was an updated schedule out from Outlaw Speedway, and wanted to make note of that. Again, the Outlaw Spring Nationals will be a one-day show Friday, April 22nd. Where they will run the Lucas Oil Empire Super Sprints with a $3,000 to win modified opener. The Grit Crate Sportsman Series will be in town for their opener. We'll have the Street Stocks, the Crate Late Models, IMCA Modifieds, 4-cylinders, and the Outlaw Bandits for opening night. And now practice night will be Friday, April 15th. $20 pit admission. Grandstands are free for open practice night on the 15th. I want to talk a little bit about the Woodhull schedule, and we'll do a abbreviated version of buy or sell as we get ready to take the white flag on this jam-packed episode of Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading material supplier to the racing industry. Now they're also an official motorsports content partner of Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for all their raw materials, such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much, much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is your #1 source for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the road to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, or call either company toll-free at 1-888-752-7272.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust, the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Matt Shepard, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Super Matt bringing us back from commercial break here on Turn 5 Live. Getting ready to take the white flag on this week's episode, and we were talking race schedules a little bit. A lot more scheduling items going to be coming out here shortly. We talked about practice night there at Outlaw. You know, looking over some of the the items on the schedule here. Of course, that big June 7th Short Track Super Series race. We just talked to Brett Deyo here a little bit ago about that. They're going to have the Grit Series Sportsman and the Fight Night Street Stock Series will be on hand that night as well. That was another announcement coming last week. The Fight Night Series schedule making its way out there, Clint. And just like a lot of drivers talked about, they said, you know what, this would be a great series, but don't run too many races. And they've got an 11-race schedule, a couple races a month, and there's even a couple months where there's only one race during the month. I think they've hit a home run with the schedule for the Fight Night Series.
Well, I do like it. I like the fact there's only 11 races. One of the things, and obviously we got 3 at Outlaw Speedway. But there's also, there's 3 at ID8 Speedway, which is a haul for us. I'm a little sad that 5 Mile Point didn't get a show, but I'm sure that as the Fight Night Series grows and it's seen, I can understand why they didn't. I'm not going to go there, but I like it. A couple a month, one here or there. Obviously, everybody's not going to agree with it. Everybody's not going to hate it. It's one of those things that it's even keel. It's kind of fair for everybody, and if you don't have to travel 2 hours 3 or 4 times a month to go to a racetrack, and I think it's a win.
Looking over some other things, and something else that kind of stands out to me as we look across the Outlaw schedule is there's a lot of sprint car dates this year. With new ownership of the Speedway. The Empire Super Sprints are coming back in a big way this year. They're on opening night, April 22nd. They're the rest of the way down through there. May 6th, you've got the Patriots will come into town for the first time on May 6th. You've also got another show with the Patriots, of course, on MRO Celebrity Night. The 360 Patriots will be back for that show as well. And then both fall shows, the September 23rd, 24th, of course, that's the Outlaw Fall Nationals, $5,000 to win, ESS URC Patriot Sprint Car show there. And then the ESS Patriot Sprint Cars, an open show, $3,000 to win on Dutch Oak National Open weekend. So you've really got some unique events on here. I mean, you've got the Empire 100, of course, on October 22nd. I also see on here the four-cylinder Super Bowl. So how about that? I really like how there's all this, a good mix of all these different event nights, and you've got things like your American Legion night, Little League night. I mean, they've really got it all. And, of course, the return this year for the second time of the Jeffy Searles Memorial Night, mid-season championships. And what a special night that's going to be. I'm thrilled that I'm going to be here for this one. No traveling for work anymore for me. I can't wait to be there for Jeffy night.
Yeah, that's always something that that we'll always look forward to from here on out. Jeff was a special part of the racing community, and it sure is missed on Friday nights in the pits, sitting on the lower level of the stands, waving his red shop towel, go, 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 rooting for Quinn Sutherland, Serenity back, when she used to race. It was really good to see, and all the bonding that people have done with him over the course of the years as well.
Brad, I'll turn things over to you here. Any topics that we need to hit? I know there's a lot of tracks that their schedules will be coming out here in the next couple of weeks as we get ready for Motorsports Expo. But anything that you'd like us to bat around in a abbreviated buy or sell tonight, Brad?
Man, I'm just so excited with all these new announcements. You don't know what else could happen. I certainly didn't expect everything that we're hearing out of Outlaw in its rookie year. But I got to tell you, I'm really, really looking forward to going up to the Motorsports Expo this year. We had a great time up there last year, and I think we're going to have even more fun to get up there and see some people and see how things have changed over the year.
Of course, Woodhull Raceway's Arnott Mall Car Show is coming up on Saturday, March 19th and Sunday, March 20th. Same weekend as Finger Lakes Speed World, so two opportunities that weekend to get out and see some stock cars. They got some great exhibits out at Finger Lakes Speed World, and of course, returning to the Arnott Mall Show for 2016 is the pit stop competition, which will fire off at 6:30 on Saturday, March 20th, there at Center Court at the Arnott Mall. Looking forward to bringing that event back to the mall show. Again, you can sign your team up. Teams of 3 crew members. You'll have a tire carrier, a tire changer, as well as a jackman. So 3-member teams. You can sign up. Go right to woodhallraceway.com. and submit an entry there, or you can email woodhallracewaypr@gmail.com. You can also register your car for that car show as well, either by going to woodhallraceway.com, and right on the homepage we've got a link for you to register your car. We've got a lot more cars that are actually going to be added to that list here in the next couple of days. A lot of driver entries starting to file in. You do have to put your entry in by March 11th. So if you're planning on coming out to the Arnott Mall Show, do get your pre-entry in by March 11th, which is a Friday, 1 week before move-in night, so that we can get the layout of the mall and put the cars all in their appropriate places. So guys, a lot to look forward to. The Syracuse Mall Show, Syracuse Mall, the Syracuse Motorsports Expo coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend on the state fairgrounds. What do you guys think about? I've seen a lot of race fans, either on Facebook or on race forums, talking about the fact that after everything that happened with the Moody Mile, say that they're not going to go to the fairgrounds and support any event, even if it's Motorsports Expo. Clint, what do you think about that?
Well, boy, Motorsports Expo is such a big thing. So much stuff comes out. There's the flea market that goes on. I think that a lot of people talk a lot, and I think that it'll still be a great turnout. I'm actually thinking about going down the road from Oswego. I'll be in Oswego that weekend, so I'm thinking about going down the road.
Bowl.
Bud Bowl's coming up. You betcha.
There you go.
So I'm thinking about maybe going down. I don't have anything planned for Saturday night right yet, so maybe go down and pay a visit. It's been a while since I've been there.
We talking about the Arnott Mall show, and we're of course going to do our annual Arnott Mall car show episode there in Center Court. And I think what we might do is we might try and butt that up with the pit stop competition coming up that evening. So maybe we'll do a little bit of an early afternoon couple-hour show there like we do on Tuesday nights. So right after the Arnott Mall show will be our mall show episode that following Tuesday night. So I think we'll probably do that and get some coverage from the pit stop competition and just have ourselves a good time at the Arnott Mall like we always do. Another topic that came up this week, of course, we talked about the Fight Night series, but the Grit series also came out with their schedules for the American Racer Tour as well as the Hoosier Tour, and a lot of events on those schedules that they've got a lot of races and a lot of races locally between what we're going to see. They open things up at Canandaigua again for Cabin Fever 2. We're going to get Nick Wary on the show in the next couple of weeks to talk about that. Of course, he's always had a big role in promoting that race and getting prizes and sponsors on board for that great event. And of course, all of the dates that they have at Outlaw as well as at Woodhall. I think, and of course, as we talk about the Grit series, obviously thinking about Rocky Warner as well is in his continued recovery. I saw an article in which he gave some quotes and talked a little bit about his recovery. And, it sounds like he's at a point where he just got to take things a day at a time and kind of take it as it comes. But I'll tell you, scary situation there for Rocky, but glad to hear that he's doing well.
Yeah, absolutely. You never want to hear stories like that. You especially don't want to hear of, guys that are so close to us in the racing community. And, they're having a fundraiser for him coming up, and, I'm sure Nick Guerry will talk about that. But, I don't think it was perceived to be as serious as it came out to be. I know I was really optimistic about him starting out the season. Now I'm not sure about it. And you know what? He doesn't have anything to prove to anybody. So, if he doesn't feel like coming out until June or July, he doesn't feel good enough to come out and race, don't. Stay home, get better, come out and whip everybody's butt in July and September if you can.
You think about all that they did last season. What an incredible run they went on. I mean, all the big races at the end of the year, it seemed like any big race they showed up at, they won.
Yeah, I mean, and not only that, Steve, but think about, they were the only ones with the new Troyer chassis that was able to go out and make it work. And, with it for the sportsman guys, I know that Nick had gotten his and struggled all year with it. It wasn't just the chassis, but they had motor problems. But now Nick has gone back to the TR1 car. And Brad, do you have any more on that?
I think talking about Rocky, I think the most disappointing thing for me all season for Rocky was the fact that he didn't get to celebrate his eventual win of the last sportsman race at Syracuse. He didn't get to celebrate it on the front stretch with a big interview in front of the capacity crowd. So other than that, I mean, just a phenomenal year. I just wish he could have had that chance to really shine when he should have been shining.
Yeah, you're right about that, Brad, for sure. Also want to mention congratulations to Ryan Davenport, who won the Mud Boss 200 at Radio Hill Raceway on Sunday. A really unique event there, and props to Chris Marquardt for putting that together. Guys, we've got to close this one out here. We got the checkered flag in sight. Want to thank Tim McCreadie, Brett Deyo, Jim Olin, everybody who joined us on the program tonight. Jacob for joining us from Race Chaser Online as well. We'll be back next Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m., right here on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsport.
Turn 5 Live is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com is a member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or marketing partners. Thank you for listening to Turn 5 Live. You can listen to Turn 5 Live every Tuesday night right here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stay tuned for more great PMN programming. Searching for a world so sold. This is radio nowhere.
Hopefully you fasten your seatbelts.